What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode, another week of 30 NSG. It's set September already. My God, it's September 2nd. We're going to be covering a couple stories today. If you like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till about noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay, on today's show, we're going to be talking about Concord. We got a bunch of stuff about talking about Concord. We're going to talk about how bad it is, not the game, but how bad it is for Sony and for the company, how many copies it potentially sold. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go down a list of, Krebsy put a nice long piece together for us of all these different stories and the timelines and stuff about Concord and how Concord got up to $250 million from a private firm, the largest to raise in video game history. So we're going to talk about the timeline of Concord. Okay, we're going to talk about the First Descendant. Forbes article from Paul Tass. He says the First Descendant is instantly changing its terrible Haley farm and invasion mission. So we'll talk about that as well. We're going to talk about Helldivers. Helldivers 2 CCO admits that they missed the mark with balancing. So we'll talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about Star Wars Outlaws sales forecast looks grim, analysts say or conclude. So I'll give you also my thoughts and opinions so far of my Star Wars up to this point. And we'll probably start with that story this morning. How's everyone doing? What's going on? What's going on, Travis? What's going on, Z? What's going on, Nate? What's going on, Sarge? Sarge is salty this morning with his went out swinging with the Uber. Blam! What's going on, Table JFK? Good morning. What's going on, Water Bear? Who am I missing? Anybody else am I missing? Nobody else? All right. So I hope everyone had a good weekend. Have a holiday if you're here in the States. It's Labor Day. I work for a couple hours, so I'm not taking a day off here. But we are going to get off not as long. We're not going to about 1 o'clock today. We're going to go about 12:30, and then we're getting off because my wife and my son are home, so we're going to go hang out with them today. So let's start off with Star Wars. Okay, let's start off with Star Wars. Right? You guys are talking about it in chat about Star Wars and whatnot. And as a person that's putting in over 30 hours into the game right now, I can say both things are true. Okay? Since most of you guys are delusional on one side or delusional on the other, and I can say the exact same thing. Here we go. Are you ready? Star Wars, I'm having a blast. I'm playing it. I'm enjoying it. I'm almost loving it, okay? I love the structure of the missions. I love the world. I love the feel of the character inside between episodes 5 and 6. It does a wonderful job of the lore. It does a wonderful job of making you feel like you belong in the Star Wars universe. In the same breath, okay, it is mid-tier when it comes to the actual gameplay of the stealth mechanic and the shooting in the actual game. Okay, you can say that you're having fun, which doesn't negate that the game is mid-tier for the actual mechanics in the game. The mechanics in the game for shooting and stealth, which the game is a shooter stealth, okay, are both mid-tier. Terrible, to be honest, okay? Coming from a company who literally makes stealth games for a living and literally a company who made it in a cover shooter. Okay, coming from the massive entertainment that made a Division and Division 2 and many other games in the past, right? And Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed and whatnot. Okay, the game is great. It really is, right? Certain aspects of it, but the other aspects of the actual gameplay of Star Wars Outlaws is mind-boggling, numbing to the brain of how can Division, the people that made Division 1 and 2, not make the cover-based shooting better cover-based? Okay. 2, how can Ubisoft, that's publishing this, works and has made Assassin's Creed games for the last 20 years, how do they not make a stealth game better than this? Okay. So you all can say that you're having fun, which is fine. But in the same sentence, right, here's other games that I liked that were also mid-tier. Are you ready? Anthem. I like it. I enjoyed it. Mid-tier. Marvel's Avengers. Loved it. Also, mid-tier. Okay. Gotham Knights. Loved it. It was mid-tier. Star Wars Outlaws. Mid-tier. Okay. I love it. I'm going to go play it after I'm done with the stream because I'm loving it. But I can also look at it and say that there's massive problems with this game. And obviously, they know this. They released it early. This game needed, for the mechanics part of shooting and cover base, okay, or I should say stealth, they needed another 8 to 12 months, which they'll get because it's a live service game, because they're putting a season pass in it, and they'll fix it over time, okay? Travis says, Star Wars Outlaws is great. Most people who hate on it can't get past her face. Now, that's not it. Here's the same thing that you guys are saying. They can't get past the face. Those of you that love it can't get past the people that are talking about her face. And you're blinded by your love of the game, but the mechanics of the game, of the stealth and the shooting, are subpar. Even after upgrading all the stuff. It's not a roadkill. Because it's not a cover shooter. It's created by the people that made a cover shooter. And there's cover shooting in the game. And it's below the bar, as we always talk about, Travis. Here's the bar. They set cover-based shooting. And yet, it comes here. It's below the bar. There's only two things you do in this game for the actual mechanic. Sneak and cover shoot. Ubisoft was only the publisher. They don't factor in how it was made. Man, Travis, it's like your first day in kindergarten. Do you actually believe that statement? You actually believe that statement that you just typed out? You believe that Ubisoft, that owns the company, that publishes those games, has no say in what the game is? Is that what you're going to say? Suicide Squad was mid-tier. Yes, it was. 100%. Roadkill says, yeah, once you start upgrading everything, the game gets a lot better. Sure. Yeah, I got my gun. I got my bolt the almost maxed out, right? I'm running around. It feels much better. But there's a lot of stuff in this game that's just fluff filler, right? And obviously we can have another conversation completely about how they made the game where it was fluff filler. I love the exploration. Love the world. Love the world. Okay? I can't emphasize that enough. I love the world that they built. But I've also said on record, I love how Massive makes their worlds. Division 1 and 2 are some of the most detailed level design. Like, they're just immaculate at what they do. And it carried over to this. Imagine that they could carry over what they've done in Division 1 and Division 2 with the detail and stuff they can do in the Star Wars world. Okay? But yet they can't carry over the shooting aspect of their shooting games, right? Imagine that. Imagine Ubisoft, who makes an Assassin's Creed franchise, that they can't pick up a phone and go, hey, we're making a stealth game, sort of like Assassin's Creed. You think you guys can come over and show us how to make a stealth game? Nah, don't worry about it. We'll just sell it off the Star Wars name itself. Now, again, Massive has nailed the plants they've put in, the cities, the amount of people in the cities, the way they interact. I love the way you walk around the city, eavesdrop on people, and then get the quests, or you find the data pads on the thing. Amazing. I was like, this is better, because as you play the character, as you play K-Vest, as you sit down and play Sabak, and then listen to people and have conversations, the game, you feel like you're like in that game. You feel like you're her. Okay? You're like, she's learning as she goes. There's no charts to, skill tree to level up or anything. She just becomes more well-known or whatnot. And it becomes more in-depth as you go. Fantastic. I love the aspect of when you meet certain people and you can start leveling up the abilities. You do certain things, kill this thing 3 times, go win a waste, go do... and you start unlocking the abilities. Then you start finding different pieces of gear. Everything about this game, except for the two major things of the shooting and stealth, feel fantastic, right? The story so far, it feels good. There's moments I'm like, oh, this is really good. Other times it feels weird, but it feels disconnected. It feels disconnected because it's an open world game and they're trying to sell a linear story. So the game doesn't know who you're going to get first. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so the characters don't actually interact with each other in the group that you're making. Okay? They just don't. It almost feels like what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda a little bit. The characters on their own feel good when you're interacting with them, but then these characters don't interact with any of the other characters that you've gotten, and it feels disconnected, right? This game just needed more time to cook, but obviously Ubisoft, Disney, or whatever had to push it out because of that contract they have where they have to release at least one major Star Wars game and one smaller Star Wars game every year. Roadkill says, you got to put in the time to make game fun. You know, that's how some games work. Yeah. And I absolutely love that part. I'm baffled, though, on how the shooting and the stealth is... It doesn't get better. The stuff that you do, like, I can walk around because I have light-footed now, so I can sneak better through, but it's not really sneaking better through. The AI is just completely dumb. Yes, because people talking about her face are morons. Games after a fapping and the people who need to grow the fuck up. I talked about her face. 100% factual. Her face is absolutely the worst part of the game. Her model morphs and changes throughout the entire game. You don't have to look at it and say it's breaking, but the facts are that's what happens in the actual game. Nate says he doesn't notice it, but it's happening. It's actually happening. You can see my streams, okay? In one scene, she looks completely different than the other, okay? Talking about her face doesn't make anyone a fucking moron, Travis. That comment can make you a moron, okay? Is actually factually saying what's happening with her face. Does it make the game worse? No, but to say that the face is actually bad is factual. Argus says, I heard that the last third of the game is when it becomes good, which is when it becomes the linear rather than open world, any order story, low investment. As of right now, 30, 35 hours in, okay, I haven't seen that. Now, the story that it's telling with Kay, I like the story. The characters feel disconnect. I like without ruining it, I like the curveballs they're throwing in. Go get this guy, and then something happens, right? Go get this guy, and then something happens. I like that stuff. I like how they're peppering in certain things. Like, it's not really a spoiler, okay? I'm in the Jabba's palace, and you'll see somebody, okay, in the Jabba's palace, okay? And I'm not talking about the Han Solo because they showed that. Obviously, you know he's there because it takes place between 4 and 5, okay? But you're going through the vents, and you look through one of the vents, and you'll see somebody, right? They just sprinkle it. They're not like in your face, like, hey, look, it's this, right? Like, I like how they're peppering certain things. Like, you go into the cantina in Mos Eisley, and you'll see the little blaster mark on the wall where Han and Greedo was sitting, okay? I love it. I love the interaction between the people inside the actual towns. I love how the massive the towns are and how lively they feel. It feels like Star Wars. Question, because Massive made both Avatar and this one in the third action adventure. This is the first-person shooter. Do you think it's possible to testing waters to see see if there's a mark? There's a mark. I mean, did Massive make Pandora? They did, right? They did. Yeah. Massive Entertainment. Yeah. Outlaws, Division 2, Division 1, and Pandora. They did a good job with that too, right? But people that played Pandora said, it feels a little shallow as you go through the story or whatnot. I feel like Ubisoft was rushing them out. What are you guys talking about, Arby's? Kylo says, morning, guys. I'm surprised Concord even had that much of sales. We'll talk about that in a second. Morning, Jojo. Morning, Hemi. Come on, Ron. Can she wear a helmet? No, she can't wear a helmet. That would be a quality of life option, right? I'm K-Vest. They just put a helmet on like Boba Fett or something. Yeah. See, the problem with a lot of you guys, okay, is that you defend a game because you like the game, and you think if someone talks bad about a game, you think that's talking bad about you because of your choices, okay? I like a lot of shitty games out there, and I can fundamentally tell you that I like the game, and there's also problems with the game, okay? Those of you out there that can't admit that, you can't admit to yourself that you like a game that's mid-tier because you think if it's mid-tier, that's saying something about you personally, which has nothing to do with it. You spend your money how you want to spend it, but to blindly say that this mechanic is good, which it's not good. You look at all the reviews of people talking about it, they're like, yeah, I love the game, but these are the problems. Everyone's like, it's not the problem. It's not the problem. It is the problem. Table JFK says, question somewhat off topic. Are the characters in Genshin Impact meant to be proactive in terms of certain thoughts? I don't know. I don't play it. I know the characters, but I can guarantee you they're not selling it on the non-sex appeal of what and how good looking the characters look, or the character models, or whatever you want to talk about. That's the whole business model of Genshin Impact. It's the whole business model of the First Descendant. Travis says, in my mind, taking 1 to 2 years to make a mid game is better than 4 years of mid. It took them 3 years to make this game. Okay? And it's mid because it's really going to take 4 to 5, which is the early access. And this is what it goes back to that I've always talked about, Travis. It takes 3 to 5 years to make a good game. 3 to 5 to make a good game. Okay? Not a great game, a good game. Okay? If they release it at 3 and then fix it over the next 2 years at 5, okay, you're getting a lesser game at 3 and waiting for the 5. But you're paying up front for that money up front. Okay? So, going into that, okay, we're going to bring up our first conversation here of Star Wars Outlaws sales forecast looks grim, and let's conclude. Now, one side of the conversation is you like Star Wars. I like Star Wars. We, the people that are playing it, like Star Wars. But is there enough, right? Because there's a side of people like the game or people hate the game, but then there's the actual side that matters, okay? Financial of the company. Is the game being successful? Did they do a good enough job to put the game out where people are buying the game, subscribing to the game, or whatnot, okay? If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We go over news stories, have conversations. Chat is 1,000 part of the conversation. If you like that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay, so Star Wars Outlaws sales forecast looks grim, analysts conclude. Now, Ubisoft, upcoming AAA title, Star Wars Outlaws, was supposed to be a big success. Okay, was supposed to be a big success. Okay, however, the company's latest sales forecast predicts a much tougher outcome for Ubisoft Original, targeting 718 million in bookings for the second quarter. But the estimates are now lowered to 553 million. Okay, Now, why does this matter? Analysts, Financial Times conclude that Ubisoft desperately needs Star Wars Outlaws to hit big, but the game's non-existent hype, okay, paints a concerning picture for the French company. Okay, analysts have lowered their expectations for Star Wars Outlaws, now forecasting sales to just 5 million copies this quarter, down to the early estimated of 8 million. Okay, now obviously it hasn't sold. That's their estimation of 5 million this quarter. Okay, sales right now don't seem very high, but they don't ever share those with us. We'll find out down the road if it sells well or not. But right now they've lowered it 3 million copies. That's not a good sign. Okay. This is a gloomy forecast for troubling for Ubisoft, which has already been struggling with the failing revenues and profits. Last year, the company saw a sharp 18.1% drop in total revenue and reported net loss of $546 million compared to $113 million profit the year before. Okay, the situation about Ubisoft's business strategy is concerning, particularly in focus on how crowded and open world and live service game models. The success of Star Wars Outlaws is extremely important for Ubisoft, but early reviews indicate that it might not be a big hit the company needs. Although the game has received mostly positive feedback, critics have said that it doesn't bring anything new to the table. It seems as perfectly fine, but not exceptional, which might not be enough to turn the things around for Ubisoft. Now, this is exactly why they shouldn't have released it a little early. They should have fine-tune the things that would have made this game fantastic for everybody, but they kind of just rushed it out there. Now, if that's Massive doing it, if that's Ubisoft pushing it out, who knows? Regardless, they all said, yeah, okay, we're ready to put it out. We're comfortable putting it out. Leading up to the release date, they were not showing high quality stuff, which is kind of weird because when you look at the game is gorgeous. Okay, anyone that tells you otherwise is blind or stupid or both. Okay, because when you look at the actual game, the game is actually beautiful looking, okay? Now, the gameplay, as I just said earlier, okay, the gunplay feels good, not great. The stealth feels good, not great, okay? The stealth, to me, is one of the most important aspects of the game, considering it's a 95% stealth game. There's certain missions that you go on that are stealth only, okay? And you can't pull your gun out. You can't do anything really because you can't make a noise. If you do, you fail. So you have to sneak around and do certain things, okay? And if you fail it, then there's like a checkpoint type of thing. And now, obviously, if you play it like myself, where you do everything before you do like the main missions and whatnot, you're going to get your abilities up higher, so those missions won't feel as tough as you go through. But that's play the game, okay? Or you could just run through the main story missions and say that the mechanics are broke and the things are done. Regardless, the game itself is just good. It's not great. Now, this, again, if you came home with just mid-tier grades, yeah, you're going to pass, but you're not going to get into the great best colleges down the road, right? You're just kind of mid-tier. You could get a job. You could do the stuff. You're passing by, and that's what this game is. It's like it's like if it was a young kid that showed great achievements when they were younger, but then as they got to their teenage years, they kind of just fell off. And they're just like, yeah, he had big aspirations, but he just kind of fell off, and now he's just mediocre. That's what Star Wars Outlaws feels like. It feels like they had the foundation of, we have a Star Wars universe where we have this big, rich lore, and we're putting you out in these worlds, and they do super detail, and it feels so good. And then the actual gameplay mechanics of it, they're like, it's just an afterthought. They'll buy it for Star Wars. Okay? So, Ubisoft hopes that the upcoming game, Assassin's Creed Shadows, will compensate for any sales shortfalls. However, there are also already concerns about the new title, especially controversy surrounding the samurai protagonist. Okay, Assassin's Creed Shadows needs to sell at least 13.5 million copies to make up the losses, which, if you think about it, is absolutely crazy, considering that Ubisoft themselves does not want to sell video games. Okay, hence why they're doing the $18 a month. But at the same time, they're charging $140 or $130 for their pre-order bonuses and whatnot for the season passes, right? So this is what they're trying to do. Technically, they don't have to sell 13 million copies. Technically, they only have to sell 6.5 million copies at the $130, and then they should be okay. Okay, but that's a lot of copies. 13 million copies is a lot of copies. Okay, Ubisoft annual revenue target is $2.46 billion. Now at risk, the company could face some more setbacks and release don't meet expectations. Ubisoft is in a tough spot And if Star Wars Outlaws doesn't perform well, it could seriously impact the company's finances, and future games don't improve the situation. Ubisoft might need to reconsider the strategy of developing AAA titles. Okay. So, obviously, is it our fault that the game doesn't make it? It doesn't really matter, because if it was successful or not successful, Ubisoft would probably fire people or close studios down, because that's what every other company is doing nowadays. Okay. Obviously, if it does well, it could get a sequel, or maybe not. Okay, but these are all things in the future that we won't know. Let me know what you guys think about what do you think is going to happen. Do you think Ubisoft's going to hit their quarterly this year? Okay, this time around with Outlaws, with Assassin's Creed. Do you think Assassin's Creed Shadows will sell 13.2 million copies? 13.5 million copies. Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live stream chat as well. If you like what I do here, please make sure you share, like, subscribe. Other than that, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are saying in chat. Let's see. Taylor JFK says, when it comes to Starfield, I feel like Bethesda has the curse, where it also just has a strange ability to take something like that meant to be a mile deep, and instead they make it a mile wide. Starfield is just a mid-tier game as well. I have over 200 hours in that game. I personally love it. But I can also see there's a lot of problems with that game, and that's why it's just good, not great. Okay, but over time, right? Now, if you ask me, this has nothing to do with the actual game itself, but the Star Wars mods that they've added because of the creation engine in the last over 2-3 months, okay? Starfield, to me, has become even better game because I loved it when it was just Starfield, but now I love it even more because it's Starfield Star Wars, okay? Which has everything to do with the modders, nothing to do with Bethesda. Sarge says, looks grim. I don't think so. I think it sold well. It just didn't sell COD numbers. You talk about Star Wars? Well, all of these numbers that we toss out means absolutely nothing unless we know what it cost and then how many they sold. That's another question, Ron. Does playing Outlaws on Ubisoft Plus count as a sale? I don't think it does. A sale would be the absolute, because if it's $70 game, how do you say $18 counts as a sale? Do you know what I mean? You would have to be on the platform for 4 months to count for that as a sale. So they really can't count that, right? But it's really difficult to think. Like, I'm playing $18. I think Super Dave is playing $18. Anybody else playing the game through the $18? Right? So they need 4 of us. Okay? They need 4 people. Follow me here. They need 4 people at $18 for 1 month to count as 1 copy. So that's the way I look at it. If a copy is $70 and someone buys the $130 version or $140, I don't know, whatever it is, right? $130, we'll just say that counts as 2 copies. Okay, because one person bought the $130 version, which, boom, that counts as 2 copies. But 4 people on the service counts as 1 copy. Okay, so you need 4 times the amount of people on the service to count as 1 copy. JFK says, I feel like when it comes to certain thoughts, the same could be applied to certain Warframe characters. If there's a business model, it wouldn't be surprise me as well. Are you still talking about like the good looking, how they look good or whatnot to sell? I mean, yeah, Warframe, they make badass characters. It doesn't have to be sexy, like, looking. It just has to be cool looking. It just so happens that sex appeal goes with cool looking. Outlaws and Unveils should have traded release dates. Look, I think a lot of these games that we play could always use more time, but they push it out, and they would rather make those impressions and fix it over time. than to make it right when it comes out. Waterbear says Shadows will sell more than Star Wars. Facts. Well, those won't be facts unless they actually share them with us. Okay, I have a feeling it could go either way. The way the industry is going right now, Water, I wouldn't be surprised if Shadows comes out and it sells less and it bombs. Okay, even though if it's an Assassin's Creed game, just because of the way the world is working right now. I'm not saying it's going to. Obviously, I said last week that Assassin's Creed's a bigger franchise than the Star Wars Outlaws franchise because that's number one of Star Wars Outlaws. Even though Star Wars, the IP itself, is bigger than Assassin's Creed, like in the world. In video games, Assassin's Creed is a much bigger... Doesn't matter what you put after the Assassin's Creed. AC is a bigger franchise than Star Wars Outlaws. Okay? So, obviously, it should sell more. I think it'll sell 13 million in the long run. Sure. But it needs to sell 13 million in the total time frame that they think is successful, which again, the company only decides that. According to Google, Valhalla did between 12 and 15 million. I think Shadows will do that about the same. In total lifetime, how long did it take that to hit the 12 to 15 million? And is that at full price, 15 million? Right? Is that at full price, or is that years later on sale? Travis says, I would theorize that they expect that it would also you do that with stay on it for 4 months if you're counting on people getting to cancel on it. Well, they would have to count it, right? Just like Game Pass counts the month that it comes out, but they would want you to stay on there 3 to 4 months to get your value out of that person. Okay, but if I just play Outlaws and I cancel, which I already did, I bought it and canceled the same day, right? So at the end of the month, Outlaws, if I don't finish it, is gone until I pay another $18 or until I purchase the game. But I'm not staying on for 4 months. So they need 4 people to count that one sale. 18 and 18 is 36. 36 times 2, 74, or 72, right? So that's what they need. It's a $70 game. So you need 4 people on the service to pay and play for a month. So it says Rocksteady hit with layoffs because of Kill the Justice League. Well, I'm sure it's a lot of stuff. Not just... that's an easy scapegoat, though, Soy, for sure. Right? Amazing that Warner Brothers says they have a $200 million loss, but they didn't tell you the gain they got last year with Hogwarts Legacy selling 25 million copies. You know what I mean? Do we know that number, though, JoJo? One of the best-selling games last year. Have they shared those numbers? Here's another thing people are going by. When a game comes out and it's like number 9 on the charts of PlayStation or Xbox or whatever, you have no idea what those sales are, right? The number 8 could have sold 10 copies and number 9 could have sold 9 copies. Or number 10 or 8 could have sold 1,000, 1,200 copies, 100,000 copies. And the next one, we don't know. They don't ever share those numbers. We just assume that, all right, well, Black Myth Wukong is the number 1 with 2.5 million sold on PlayStation this last 2 weeks. Okay, so 1 is at 2.5. So what's 10? Right? We don't know. It could be 100,000. It could be 100. It could be 10. Now we have other stuff that jumps into the place of, well, you got Ubisoft Plus. We don't know what that counts for. You got digital sales. You got physical sales. You got pre-orders. Right? It's all over the place. Travis says 30 AC Shadows is going to make sales because, heck, I have 2 friends who don't like AC, and they're buying it just to say F you to the people whining about Yuzuka. Well, sure. But then there's people that are saying F you because of what they're doing to it. Right? So that means absolutely nothing to me, Travis. For every 2 people that are buying it, there's also 2 people that are not buying it. You see what I'm saying? Sure. Right? No one's saying that Valhalla didn't do well. Right? The article's talking about how they have to sell 13.5, million copies. That's harder and harder nowadays. Especially since there's a subscription service. People buy it after the fact. Right? It's a live service, so over time, sure, it could sell 13.5. When it does hit that, though, they'll let us know because they will scream from the rooftops. When it doesn't, they'll stay dead silent. It came out, Sarge, Friday. So you can watch it for like $5 or $7, whatever it is, if you want to rent it. I still think I would rather buy Borderlands 3 than watch Borderlands the movie for $7, but that's just me. Well, no, it's not on a streaming service. You can rent it. It's not on like Disney Plus or Netflix or anything like that. It's on a like Amazon Prime for whatever money. I don't know what it cost. Twitter says AC will do fine. I'm sure it will. Just based on the article, though, that we read, and it says that, Outlaws hurt them, so AC now has to sell more so they can hit their quarter. Right? From our standpoint, looking at a game going, I like the game, I enjoy the game, the company's aspect of the game is, well, this one didn't sell well, so this one has to make up for these sales. We're having some burgers today. I'm looking forward to it. Is it past noon? You're already drinking, Dolphin? Well, you're in Wisconsin, right? You're in Wisconsin or Minnesota? You're in Wisconsin. Yeah, you can start drinking already. Waterbear says, what'll do fine? Warhammer. Honor the brave and noble. Sacrifice their lives for the Emperor of Mankind. Look, that's one game I hope comes out and everything works. I'm excited to see what it can do, Water. I'm hoping, because I know people that play it single player are going to love it. They're going to be like, oh man, this is so good. I don't care about that game as a single player. That game is everything to me. If co-op works day one, and then I'll buy it and play it with Sarge. If it doesn't work, then I'm not getting it. It's noon somewhere. Yeah. Now, in Wisconsin, you don't need a reason to drink. It's just like you wake up and like your mouthwash is beer. You just wake up, you're like, yeah. You know what my favorite beer is when I do get it. Okay, when I do get it, because one of my wife's cousins works at a brewery up there, or for a distributor or whatever, and we don't have it here. Is Mick Gold? They only sell in like 3 states. I think it's Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois. I think. Okay. Right? I don't really like the flavor of any other kind of beer except like the wheat beers and stuff like that. But for some reason, I can drink a shit ton of that. Good. Mick Gold. And I don't even drink anymore. So. Yeah, I think it only sells in 3 states. All right, let's go with the next story. This is a long one, right? So there's a story I'm going to read that's Concord is estimated to have sold only a certain amount of copies, which I'll leave blank for right now. But then Krebsy took all these articles and all these things, and he put it in a nice little thread for us in our Discord. So I'll try to open those up and kind of go over what it is, right? So I'm going to give you like the rundown of what the timeline is of what's happening here with Concord, okay? And with like Sony and when they bought them and whatnot, okay? But before we get to that, we're going to talk about Concord estimated to have sold only 25,000 units. Here's why analysts think it's failing, okay? Well, I can tell you why it's failing. They're missing at least a 0, if not 2. That's why they're failing. Okay, weak marketing, high price point, and the lack of distinguishing characters doomed Sony's multiplayer hero shooter. So for the last week, there's been a lot of online discussion of Sony's newly launched multiplayer shooter Concord, but it's not because everyone's playing it. It's because seamlessly no one is. Okay, plenty of gamers don't sell well at launch, but observers have latched on to Concord's dramatic failure due to the high-profile nature as a Sony first-party game and shockingly low Steam's concurrent player numbers. At launch upon August 23rd debut, Concord only had 697 Steam concurrent players, and it hasn't risen any higher since then. At the time of writing this, it's 130 entire people are playing Sony's brand new first-party game on Steam, and that's a real low number even for the game. Middling critic reviews gave it a 7 out of 10, which is not really mid, because if you think about it, other games were lower and they did better sales-wise. Okay, so the 7 out of 10 is just like, okay, right? This is why it doesn't really matter what the number is that people think. Like, you could give it a 10 and someone give it a 1. It doesn't really fucking matter. Did it sell? Okay, it hasn't sold. Okay. So what happened? Why did big Sony's first-party game get sent out to die immediately? It's actually selling badly. Are we also just reading the numbers wrong? As usual, the question is the nature of crop-up, and he asked a bunch of professional industry analysts to explain to it. Okay, so it says, is Concord actually selling that badly? Unfortunately for Sony, yeah. While historically low numbers like this, one has experienced that Concord have tendencies of used by driving narratives that don't always paint a full picture. It's not happening here. So the principal analyst at O Media said that the Steam numbers are so bad that even without the exact data on PlayStation 5 side, we can see a pretty certain that the game is doing very badly. Other analysts were able to share a bit of insight from PlayStation's side with me. He said that the analyst, Matt Piscatella, citing that the player engagement tracker on Monday, August 26th, Concord ranked 147th in the U.S. on PlayStation 5 daily active players across all titles. It was a fewer of more than 0.2% on Monday active PlayStation 5 players playing the game, and analyst Simon Carlis, also authors of the GameDiscover.co newsletter, estimated that Concord total sales are sitting around 10,000 units on Steam and around 15,000 units on PlayStation. He responded to an email Wednesday on August 28th, 2024. That is so bad. So bad. 10,000 on Steam, 15,000, okay? And if you look at it, you know, they only had 697 people concurrent on Steam, and yet they said 10,000 units sold. So, you know, that's awful. Okay, awful, that's 10,000. Awful that only less than 700 people played it concurrently, meaning they bought it and they're like, I don't really need to play it. Okay, and remember, they hid the numbers for the 3 early access period and whatnot. Okay, so it says many of the analysts I spoke to lamented that the reality, as they point out, the Concord has been in development for years now. The substantial financial and time investment for Sony is incredibly talented people worked on it. It's well produced. Research analysts specifically noted that the fun to play, but Elliott continues sadly making a fun, high-quality shooter is not enough to in this oversaturated live service space these days. Okay, so why isn't Concord selling? Usually when you reach the analysts have also come into a piece like this, they also largely have a similar assessments of the big picture, and they can offer a differing perspectives on certain details. In this case, Concord, everyone spoke and agreed on the reasons that it failed. Concord suffered from poor marketing and a high price point, and mostly critically, the lack of differentiation in oversaturated genre. So, professionals in the industry have all came across together with their minds and said that the price point is the main reason. I came across that myself before they even launched the game. Okay, so starting with marketing, according to Piscatella, Sony dropped the ball on the front, badly damaging the ability to build momentum ahead of the release. He said it suffered from a low awareness of purchase intent amongst the video game players, and indicated that the player pulse was also showing that in July only a very small percentage of players were even aware of Concord existence begin with. Retail promotion was limited. It was also a handful of placements across GameStop, Best Buy, Target, Walmart, and PlayStation stores, also handling roles. Research director analysts also agree that they also, while they've been trailers and some gameplay reveals for Concord, pre-launch promotion for the game appears to have been relatively limited. Okay, and why does this all make sense? I'll tell you in just a second. Okay, so the marketing was sorely needed, and it lacks pre-existing fan base to bolster its launch. Okay, a $40 Concord also suffered from what's considered to be the over-high price point, given the main competitors are free-to-play. As Carlos pointed out, the high-skill multiplayer shooters can struggle to gain traction because players will only shift with the preferred game if all their friends and also agree to do so. Even then, players may reluctantly do that. Sunk cost fallacy around the various cosmetics and other perks that also pick up on their preferred game over time. This is also a problem, he says, for content creators who won't know in advance of the audience to also be interested in a new game they're considering to switching to. So free-to-play games, players can also at least jump in, try something out, and then see if it sticks without the high commitment cost. But with Concord, the $40 price makes players unlikely to give it a shot in the first place. Okay, so it adds also a likely need to end the console cycle when players are more reluctant and then also usually take a chance on new games. Okay, so again, those of you that don't know, that's that little emote that I have. Go ahead and spam that in chat. Okay, correct as usual, right? The $40 price tag is the majority of the reason people wouldn't jump. The second tier and whatnot is the sunk cost fallacy in other games and other people jumping over, right? Because let's say that you want to play the game, right? Me and Sarge are both playing. We're in this PvP genre. We love playing PvP shooters, okay? In a different alternate universe that we used to, okay? I want to play the game. I tell Sarge, hey, I'm gonna get this game. He goes, oh, cool. Is it free? I'm like, no, it's $40. He's like, ugh. Well, I'm having fun with Battlefield over here. Battlefield Bad Company 2. We're still playing it, right? I'm having fun with this. Why should I go over there? Well, it's $40 and there's a he/him trash can that you can come play. And he's like, well, you sold me. You sold me, right? I got to convince him, right? Because I don't want to jump in alone. Misery loves company. So if I paid $40, I got to get him to pay $40 so he can join me in a game to play, and I got to make him try to enjoy it, right? That's a big sale. Free to play, right? I could be like, hey, you want to play this game? Not really. It's free to play. Yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot, right? That's how it works, okay? And when you put that $40 price tag on it, when you could play 7, 10, 15 other games that are free to play, and this one's $40, that's a no-go, okay? But it's okay. It was planned from the start, okay? The tight-knit group of players might also be willing to take a chance on a new game for free, but paying $40 is a big ask today's climate. So launching Concord as a premium game, limited to audience numbers, user acquisition, and the number more people who play the game, the more appealing it is. Network effects, crucial for building healthy engagement ecosystems. Concord should have launched free to play. No shit. Okay, or at least as part of a PlayStation Plus subscription. No shit. Okay, to have fighting chance in the overcrowded genre. If it's not too late for this to happen, of course, but the damage might have already been done. First impressions matter. Okay? Well, remember, first impressions matter. But remember when Battlefield 2042 went free to play on PlayStation Plus and Game Pass? Shit ton of people came back. And Battlefield 2042 made a lot of money because people got it for free and then probably got a season pass or bought a microtransaction and whatnot, and they kept it alive. Okay, what's the other game? Saints Row. Saints Row was a piece of shit game, mid-tier, lower tier. Okay, piece of shit game. When on PlayStation Plus, and people that were there, it was the highest played game that month when it came out because, well, people didn't have to pay for it. They just paid that subscription fee that they were already paying, and they got to play the game. So Battlefield 2042 and Saints Row were the 2 highest played games on PlayStation Plus when it came out. Okay? Ta-da! So there you go. Okay, so every analyst spoke on also hammered home what Concord's biggest problem is, the lack of differentiality of what the game is. It doesn't do anything different than anybody else, right? But you have to pay $40 to get in there to figure that out, okay? So since then, we've had a few more big budget hero shooters come to the market: Apex Legends, Valorant, Overwatch 2, each with their own unique gameplay attributes and hardening roles. There's also 3 of these games played by millions of gamers every month and dominate this category. Concord's gunplay compares to mostly of Overwatch 2, and overall the hero shooters market already is well served in collection. Very strong free-to-play titles, okay? So what does this mean for Sony and live service games? As I asked the analysts and spoke, this means that the live service is over, especially for Sony. Hardly, they all said. But it should serve as a reality check. Live service games have a high failure rate, Dina said. There's also many reasons for that to be, but the main one is because it's rely on network effects. Sometimes a single-player game can have a slow launch, but eventually find its way to success. And we're talking about that right now with Star Wars Outlaws or maybe AC Shadows that comes out down the road, okay? But the clock is now ticking on Concord in a big way because unless a player count picks up soon, nobody will be playing it against. So you have to personally would like to give it a try. There's nothing to play. But while the risks are big, there's also no rewards. No secret at the main of the highest earning games in the market today are live service games, according to the data. Only about 16% of total revenue of the games in the marketing now comes from traditional full game sales. Publishers are now going to keep chasing the 84%. Okay? So, from that, we have a huge, okay, now, obviously, I can't make this bigger. These are different stories and stuff, but I have a list of stuff, right? Krebsy, community member, right? Modern stuff, has put together a thread for us in our Discord. If you want to go look at this thread, you can go look at it inside the general gaming whatnot, okay? So he talks about Concord, Firewalk, and probably the timeline, okay? So let's go to this real fast, which is, there was a Reddit post on Asmongold's thing. It says, Concord got up to $250 million from private firm and the largest raise in video game history. Okay, this brings us to the Hollywood Reporter article about this, with Probably Monsters unveils $200 million funding roundup to support long-term growth. A Bellevue, Washington-based company operates a collection of AAA studios, each focused on different game genre and player experience. Okay, so a video game developer, Probably Monsters, was raised $200 million in a series of funding in a company announced Wednesday. Okay, the funding was led to the LKCM Headwear investment, which has also contributed to a long-term growth of Probably Monsters, a Bellevue-based developer. Probably Monster operates a collection of AAA studios, including a story-driven Cauldron Studios, currently developing a single-player adventure game, a multiplayer-focused Firewalk studio, which is Concord, okay, which earlier this year entertained an agreement for Sony Interactive Entertainment to publish the inaugural game, as well as the third unveiled last October dedicated cooperative RPG games. Okay, just to let you know, this article is from September 1st of 2021. Okay, so since that time, Firewalk Studios has been sold off to Sony. So the funding will expand long-term features of these 3 studios, enhance employees' benefits, while also opening the door for future terms of IP and new genres. Probably Monsters was founded in 2016 and officially launched in 2019, led by the CEO Harold Ryan, whose background includes serving as a studio head, president, and CEO of Bungie, Halo/Destiny, okay, from 2000 to 2016. Now, this is very interesting, okay, because here's Bungie again. Here's this Bellevue. If you guys don't know, that's in Washington, okay? So this got funded by these investors, okay? And now the background of this is that this company was head by one of the guys that was part of Bungie back in the day, and then he left, right, back in 2016. Well, we know who took over in 2016. That's Pete Parson, okay? And you can check out Pete Parson this Thursday to see if he's still got a job, okay? So we have big priorities here, and we're moving forward to the right now, Ryan told The Hollywood Reporter. Adding the first, providing his teams with meaningful game careers over the long term, ensuring that they will also be able to eventually retire well from the company. Second, we're expanding our game development platform, including live operations and community features for engaging with players, he said. And this grows with the world's possibilities of all the other studios and games and means that the games or service is full. A part of the game development ecosystem is important to all of us, our games, and can grow and evolve with their communities. Ryan's third creative priority will be supported recruitment efforts in order to welcome more talent and build future teams in IP's additional genres. Probably Monsters, he explained. We've seen 50% annual growth on average and expect the headcount to be north of 300 by the end of the year, building and guiding new studios and teams in our DNA for Probably Monsters. Okay? So, since that time, articles from 2021, they sold that company. So now, here's the timeline that Krebsy put together for us. Okay? So Concord, Firewalk, Probably Monsters timeline. 2016, based off comments from developer in 2024 of the game having an 8-year development cycle. Concord started developing this year. Harold Ryan, okay, former Bungie CEO, leaves Bungie. In 2018, Firewalk and Cauldron is established as a subsidiary of Probably Monsters and parent company that is also incubates studios. 2019, Probably Monsters is officially announced with Harold Ryan, former Bungie CEO, as the CEO and founder, alongside the first two incubated game development teams. In 2020, Probably Monsters started building their third game development team, Battle Barge. In 2021, Probably Monsters announced that publishing partnership with PlayStation for the game Concord, made by Firewalk. Probably Monsters also started a Series A funding. 2022, Probably Monsters Series A funding comes to close with $250 million being raised. 2023, April, PlayStation acquires Firewalk. May, Firewalk Concord is announced. June, Probably Monsters Studio Concord halts development as unannounced project, and this is by the Dave Matthews, former Bungie art director. In 2024, May, Concord gameplay is revealed, along with the August 23rd release date. June, Concord beta. July is announced at July 22nd. Paul Tassi says Concord beta peaked at 2,388 on Steam. On August 23rd, Concord released August 31st, and IGN says Concord sold only 25,000 units. Okay, so obviously, what looks like, again, this is my putting the pieces together, subjective, okay, is that this got funded by a private company to push the DEI, SBI type of stuff. Okay, they made Concord. They took this thing and said, well, let's sell it off to Sony. Sony picked them up. I think Sony got hornswoggled. But at the same time, back to the other article where Sony wants more live service games. So they pick up the live service company that had a live service game. And it doesn't really matter because they were really looking for that 84%. There's a small percentage it wasn't going to succeed, which it did. Okay. And they can still make that money if they go free to play, or if they can put it on PlayStation Plus, get the microtransactions. They can make money back on this. But in the short term, Concord is a done deal. Okay. But Sony, I think, got hornswoggled. Not once, not twice, but I think 3 times. Okay. By one company called Bungie. Okay. Because, follow me here. The guy who was the CEO of Bungie left Bungie. Started separate company over here. Another guy that was with Bungie left Bungie and started his own company over here as well. This company funded and took this company in, raised money for Firewalk Studios to make Concord and whatnot. So ex-Bungie CEO, ex-Bungie art director, all started making separate company, separate game company. And then Sony bought Bungie. Finds out that Bungie is just shitting all over the place with their financials. Okay, so now Bungie itself hurts Sony because they didn't know what the fuck they had, and then Sony purchased this from this company, which is Firewalk Studios, to moved on over. So now you have Bungie back together. The guy who left Bungie came over here, moved back over to Bungie because they're underneath Sony. So you got Bungie screwing him over with the sales and stuffing, and the studio didn't know what the hell fuck they were doing. Then you have a studio that made this Concord game, which is just not doing very well. Okay. And all from ex-Bungie employees. I'm telling you, man, you got to dive deeper into what Bungie did with their money and with all the stuff that they're doing. But Bungie has screwed over Sony twice now, not only with Destiny purchase, okay, but also because they said they overpaid, okay. Now they've screwed them over with Concord. Now Concord was that glimmer of hope for them. They're like, this is why they didn't market it. They're just like, yeah, we paid for it. Let's see what we can make for doing the bare minimum, and see what we can make if we make that 84% of money from it, right? But it cost them a lot of money. Now, I don't know if they have an article here talking about when they purchased and how much they purchased them for. Let me see if they have it. Let's see. PlayStation acquires. Let's see if it has the price here. Let's see. We've also assembled an amazing team at Firewalk Studios, specifically bringing a memorable multiplayer experience to the players. It does not say how much they paid for it in this article. So that is the problem just overall with Concord. One, it was made in the fact of they knew it probably wouldn't succeed. They tried to put one over, and they try to put it out there as a chance of making that 84% of that market, right? Which is very lucrative, right? And it didn't do very well, right? So let's see. I have another article about Concord. We're just shitting on Concord today because that's what's happening in the news cycle. Let me see what you guys are saying up here. Pilso says at 4 p.m. in UK, we got 52 people playing on Steam. It would take a miracle to bring people back in this game, even if the competition just do it better. Yeah, it doesn't matter. This game is a write-off. What they're going to do, right, is I think they're going to put Season 1 out. They're going to kind of remarket it because they got to put more money into it to see if they can get money back into it. And I think the way they do it is they coordinate some articles out there saying, oh, Concord's going free to play, blah, blah, blah. They give, based off, I forget who said it was Robert Jones or somebody else said it last week. It was Crowded. I think it was Crowded. Crowded said they should give the cool-ass cosmetics to cover up the shitty character design inside of Concord, right? So anyone that paid the $40, they give them the new cosmetics to make their characters look like badass and really cool looking, okay? And then that starts to set a trend of, oh, look, you don't have to make them look like the way they look. They'll look much better. They give the people that paid $40 that for free, and then other people, now it's free to play. Now people can come in and maybe they purchase those cosmetics or whatnot to make their character better looking, right? Reese says, if Concord goes free to play, the 80 guys that bought it are going to be ticked. This is why, Reese, I say they give them free stuff, right? They give them all the characters get like an overhaul or whatnot. Okay. Sarge says, I don't care what anyone says. I will not buy General Mills syrup if that beautiful black woman is not on the syrup bottle. Then you can kiss my grits. I won't eat my pancakes. I don't know where Sarge is going off on, but, you know, whatever. YouTube Lurker says, good morning, 30. And chat, can the election in Michigan be over now so I can stop getting 3 political ads every refresh? I mean, I can't help you what you see. It's in your demographic area, right? Sorry about that. I pay for YouTube Premium, so I don't see any ads ever. Ever. Did Sarge time out Eclipse for talking about waffles? Lurker says, you got to be so desperate for life service to buy Bungie. Turns out that 30 as was right all along. Destiny was a fluke. Wait, is it this direction or is it the other direction? Is it this direction for my emote? No. You know you're shitting on Concord. You're talking about how Concord shit on themselves. Yeah, I know. After a couple of drinks says, has the game ever died this fast? I don't think anyone's playing that Concord game. I think there was another game that died. Babylon's Fall, I think, was a game that died pretty fast. This is precedent, though. This is amazing how fast this game has fallen. And a lot of people are upset. Okay. Oh, what's going on, Full Metal Joker? What's going on, man? After a couple drinks, that's you? All right, cool. Nice to see you. Thanks for showing up. What was I saying? We're talking about... The hell we were just talking about? About Concord. It'll come back to me. Oh, playing Concord. The people that are playing Concord, like, it's just going to diminish faster and faster. Like, what do? Is there, like, life support? There's nothing been ever like this because even Lawbreakers didn't go down this fast, right? Foam Stars didn't go down this fast. There's more people playing Foam Stars probably right now than there are Concord, right? It's crazy to see. And you know what? It's just like a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm. Just like Once Human came out right at the tail end of the day before, that bullshit game that they were making, okay, and they closed down. Once Human came in and, like, filled that gap, okay? Marvel Rivals came in perfect timing as Concord came in, right? They announced Marvel Rivals. Concord was coming in with the closed beta. Marvel Rivals came in with the closed beta. Concord opened it up to an open beta. There was more people playing this closed beta for Marvel Rivals than there was for Concord. And then with all the other games, X Defiant that just came out, we have Valorant that just moved over to the console. You got the finals that came out November, December last year. You got Overwatch 2. You got so many things that are out that it was just bad timing for Concord across the board. Now, maybe Sony was like, let's just get it out there and see what happens to it, right? Maybe they knew, just like Xbox failed to market Hi-Fi Rush, okay? They just didn't market this very well either because they knew that, well, the money that we have in it, is it worth it? Can we get it in the long run? Can we make that, as the article said, can we get that 84% of people come in to pay a microtransaction or whatnot? Obviously not, right? You made too generic of a game. Destiny was the greatest save of all time next to Fortnite. Nah. I'm going to go with Fortnite. Fortnite's number one. No Man's Sky, and then Destiny. I think No Man's Sky is between Destiny and Fortnite, Sarge. But I think you could swap those. I think you could Destiny and No Man. I think you could swap those, in my opinion. This is worse than Redfall. It's much worse than Redfall. And here's why. Redfall, even though it was a game that was broke, buggy, unfinished, and they put it out there at $70, you could play Fortnite by yourself. I'm sorry, you could play Redfall by yourself. You can't play Concord by yourself. You need the player base to play Concord. I inspired you to stream at 47. Nice. I don't know why I inspired you, but I appreciate that. James Thomas says Redfall was vindicated once Concord released. I don't know if you can make the comparison of these two games because one is a multiplayer and one is not. I mean, it's co-op, but you can play Redfall by yourself. Titan says Jim Ryan knew. He left. He got the hell out of Dodge. Titan, he was like, yeah, we ain't doing this. I'll see you guys later. This is not falling. You know what Ryan did? Ryan did what Bob Iger did for Disney when he left those years during, like, the COVID and put the other guy in place and then came back later. Was like, I'm going to save it. That's what Ryan just did. He pieced out. He's like, hey, I ain't dealing with this. Lurker says, there's no way Sony knew this was going to happen. They spent too much to the studio and launched. Sony was surprised. Here's the thing, Lurker. I think they purchased, again, I don't know how much do we have a statement of how much they purchased Firewalk Studio for? Okay. I think in the long run, them adapting from first party titles to live service titles, I think that was well worth the price point for them. You know what I mean? Here's how I think it, though. Again, I'm speculating in every way, shape, or form. People in the industry know people in the industry, right? They know the shift that was happening, that people were moving towards live service. I find it a little weird that everyone was like, yeah, let's get Sony. Bungie looked for Sony. Firewalk was looking for Sony. Everyone was looking at Sony because they knew Sony was trying to get the live service aspect, and it looked like Bungie was capitalizing on this in the long run. You know? I don't know. Go on, Super Dave. Am I excited? Not excited. I bought the game when it came out, right? That'll teach me. That'll teach me to buy a game I like, because now it's on. It's going to be on Game Pass. And that game was broken buggy when it came out because they didn't even have co-op in it. I think they did a co-op update to Expedition about 2 months ago. Roadkill says, Cyberpunk, man, from what I was to how beautiful that game is unbelievable. 30, you got to play Cyberpunk. I plan on playing Cyberpunk, but not anytime soon. I plan on playing it, just not anytime soon. There's got to be a lull, and right now there's no lull. I'm still enjoying games in the past, and when I still have to finish Marvel's Midnight Suns. I still got to finish Outlaws. I want to go back and play Starfield's DLC. What else is coming out? Space Marines is coming out. We got Towerborn coming out. Like, there's a lot of games that I'm interested in. So Cyberpunk, because it came out the way it came out, it gets put on the shelf and it just gets on the backlog, right? It gets on the backlog. It had its opportunity. I own it. Brainchild gifted it to me. I own it. Just never played it. But I have it. I will play it sometime. I might be 50 by the time I play it. James Thomas says, you can play it by yourself, but co-op is encouraged. Oh, absolutely. We played solo in Redfall when it came out, and we played co-op with Sarge. And it's a much better experience when you play with somebody. But, again, you don't need somebody. So, to compare Redfall, in my opinion, to Concord is not even close, right? You got to compare a hero shooter or multiplayer game to what other multiplayer games are. And, just to show you how bad Concord was, the concurrent peak of Redfall was higher than the concurrent player base of Concord. Just saying. 50 to 100 mil for Firewalk seems about average. Here's the thing, but that's what it costs for the game, not for them to buy the studio. I want to know how much it cost them to buy the studio. I will be 50 and still gaming, and 60, and 70. By that time, Super Dave, I'll have the chip in my head. I'll just be like, don't talk to me, I'm playing a game. Or I'm shitting myself. One of the two. One of the two. Game Pass does boost Redfall's numbers. No, we're talking about Steam. Steam Titan. It had nothing to do with Game Pass numbers. We're talking just Steam numbers. Nice try, though, Titan. Nice try. That's right. Maximize the grind, play the game, shit yourself at the same time. Exactly. There's only a certain time. There's only a certain amount of time in the day, Lurker. You might as well do everything all at once, right? Be really efficient with your time. All right. We're going to the next story, which is again another Concord one, okay? Because it looks like this article is saying that we just want to shit on the game to shit on the game, but that's That's not what we're doing. We're just talking about the game because that's what it is. It says, its eagerness to grave dance on an unpopular game has become a bad habit. I don't know why it's been a bad habit, right? Because in my opinion, when someone does something wrong, or something doesn't work, or broke, or buggy, or you don't like it, you have to show it out, right? When you discipline a child or an animal, or that something happens in a company, you have to showcase it so you don't make the same mistakes, right? Like, I don't let my son put a fork in the outlet and then go, yeah, it's cool, go ahead and do it. No, I'm like, no, stop it. Don't do that, okay? You don't do that, okay? So he doesn't do it again. He does it again, that's just natural selection of life. You know what I mean? So it says, well, before I get to this, if you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, have conversations. If you guys like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We are trying to hit, do I have it? Let me go back to this one real fast. Yeah, we are trying to hit 3,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button down below. But I'll be honest with you, I'm a very, very straight up person here. If you're not going to watch my content, do not hit that subscribe button because it just hurts me. Unless you really want to hurt me, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But, you know, each their own. All right, so the eagerness to grave dance on unpopular games has become a bad habit. Sony hero shooter Concord launched last week, and Steam concurrents haven't yet topped 1,000. Okay, don't fluff it. Don't fluff it. Okay, who wrote this? PC Gamer. It hasn't even broke 700. Settle your ass down. That's 300 away. Do you understand? If I added 300, right? I'm at 2460 right now for subscribers. I don't tell you I have a 3,000 subscriber channel. Okay? Stop it. Stop it. Didn't even break 700. Okay? Dramatically low turnout or big titles, biggest flop of the year on social media. If you caught any of the discussion on Reddit, TikTok, or any other platform over the weekend, you mostly saw people gloating, posting screenshots and SteamDB concurrent charts and tracking or tacking on generic dunk or claiming it rules. And we can also see a big game fail. The jubilation over Concord's low turnout is apparently cracked the top 50 bestsellers on the PlayStation Store over the weekend, derives of some degree from I told you so sense of justice and the idea of what out-of-touch creativity bankrupt exclusives are cynical, chasing trends, and as the rest of us also had common sense to avoid releasing a Concord, a Marvel's Avengers, a Suicide Squad, a Gotham Knights, or a perplexing Gollum game. Okay, but not actually that easy to know why the game succeeds and another doesn't. Well, it's very easy why it succeeds. Someone shows gameplay. Someone looks at gameplay and says, that game doesn't look fun. I know it's hard to believe this. I know it's so hard to understand this when we watch these award shows and we watch these summer game fests and we all say the exact same thing. Show us gameplay. And within a minuscule millisecond, whatever, a really fast time, like that, before I can even snap my fingers or blink an eye, you can look at it and go, nah, I don't like it. Oh, I like it, right? Show us gameplay, and we'll tell you. This is why it's a huge business, but movies make a trailer. I know it's weird. They make a trailer to tease you what the movie is, and then you go, I'm going to go watch that movie, or I'm not going to go watch that movie based on the trailer, okay? Same thing. They do trailers in the video game space, but gamers play games. They don't watch games. Okay? Most people play actual games. So obviously there's Twitch and YouTube and you watch people play games, but you also play games. And you want to know if you're going to spend 70, 80, 90, 110, 130, 150, 200, $500, okay? That you want to know if the game is good or not. So when they show you gameplay and you go, damn, I'm out. Okay? Best example, just recently, Towerborn. Towerborn we didn't know anything about. But then they did some dev diaries, and then they showed gameplay of the actual game. And some people are going to look at it and go, nah, I'm out. Not my type of game. And other people go, oh, shit, that looks good. I'm going to play that game. It's amazing. I know. Okay? So the devs at Firewalk Studios, many of whom were ex-Bungie, have made a game that's also in a genre that also experience related without the free-to-play monetization. We also often complain about, which isn't a cynical or underhanded thing to do, But concurrency in numbers have also the situation acquired moral quality. If you release an unpopular game, everyone is suddenly morally justified to shame the embarrass you, whether it's because it's all big budgeted games are bad, or live service games are bad, or it did too much to pick one. Because it says, my guess is the real reason for this is a grave dance is that feels like the victory for over FOMO. If a new $40 game sucks, then no one is playing it. It can safely go back to whatever it was playing before without ever worrying about anyone else is having fun without me. I don't know if that is the case. I think when a game is actually really good, like Black Myth Wukong, or when Palworld came out, or Helldivers came out, or Elden Ring DLC came out, people do the exact same thing. If they like it, they talk about it. They show it off. So let me get this straight. We're allowed to be celebratory when something's good, but we can't be celebratory when something's bad, right? We're not allowed to talk about anything that's bad because, well, you might hurt someone's feelings. But if someone does something good, we're allowed to boost them up because, hey, they did something good, and you're allowed to talk about it, right? That doesn't make any sense in logic in my head, okay? Because if something's bad, I got to say, hey, this is bad. Because if I spent my money on something, or I was going to spend my money on something, I got to make sure that other people, hey, maybe you think just like me, and you would like to know if this is a good game or a bad game, hence why reviews are there. Not everyone watches reviews, but the people that do watch reviews want to know, should they spend their money? Some people look at reviews just to kind of vindicate to themselves. They're like, well, I hear this game is bad, but, you know, it looks like a game that I would like, so I'm going to purchase it. I want to make sure that it's a game I like, type of thing, right? So I never understood this, where if someone does something good, you're allowed to praise them and go, oh, yay, oh, good job. But if someone does something bad, you're not allowed to go, that's a shit game, right? Do better next time. It's amazing to me, right? But then again, I'm a Gen Xer, so what do I know? Okay, beating up on unpopular games is always a way to passively farm a satisfying sense of vindication. If I never paid attention to the game that fails at launch, it affirms the correctness of my judgment and immaculate of my taste without the effort of my part. Okay, it says, when I'm struggling, the game has a high enough profile, as Concord does, it's reasonable to impulse to crack a joke about Steam's concurrent gives way to what sort of thinking, which then gives away to the shit-talking free of all of turns and developers of cartoonish corporate stooges, until wraps them the reality of the game. Here's where I think he's going, and I haven't read the rest of the article, but it's okay to make fun of things. It's not nice to make fun of people, okay? Obviously, each their own, okay? But if I'm making fun of a game because of what's happening in the industry, and the developers that made that game feel like we're being attacked them personally, well, then you should have put more work into that game, right? People come in all the time into my streams, and they'll make fun of me and the way I look or sound or whatnot through a message, a comment, or whatnot. But do I really give a shit what they think? No, I'm going to make the content that I want to make. I'm happy with the content I make, okay? If you're happy with the content I make, then enjoy. If you want to give me feedback, there's a feedback section, okay? Because I accept feedback, okay? Because I actually want to get better. I don't want people to keep telling me, oh, you're so perfect, 30. You're just so good, right? That's not what I look for. I'm looking to make better content, okay? And adapt and change. Unlike these people that are like, you're not allowed to make fun of people. You're not allowed to make fun. Don't make fun of the actual devs. The devs are just doing their job. It just so happens that NBA team, when they put them together, you think they're the best team in the world, and then they win 40 games, right? And you're like, what did we spend all that money for? You kick their asses out and you build a new team, okay? Same thing. Maybe the team that was making this game wasn't the best that was going. Maybe they were all good in their own aspects, but when you put them together, they didn't make a good game. So you got to talk about it. It's not a good game. Don't buy it. Don't play it, right? Battlefield 2042 became one of these dog piles back in the launch. Battlefield 2042 became a dog pile because it was a shit, broken, buggy-ass game. Make their points, distractors started copying and pasting a giant list of features from previous Battlefield games, and DICE was accused of removing, which are true, including features. Don't remember anyone liking this in the first place, which is true. I never saw anyone use Battlefield 1's fortification building system. Battlefield 1 didn't have a fortification system. Battlefield 5 had a fortification system. Battlefield 1 didn't have a fortification system. Battlefield V or 5 did. Battlefield 1 was World War 1. What are these guys talking about? All right, featuring as soon as it could be also be bludgeon. I don't think it mistakes DICE made with Battlefield 2042 was not making a list of every discrete feature that's also ever been in Battlefield game when putting them out into one game, but thought it warped lens of Reddit, other platforms, that what's controversial became. No, Battlefield 2042 was a shit, broken, buggy game. You can look at the list of videos, my footage of like early access and beta and day one, okay? It was so bad. They knew it was bad, hence why they took 18 months to fix it. Oh, for fuck's sake, these people with these articles. Okay? Above is not clear where the $300 million figure has come from. Okay? Concord's Steam launch numbers are astonishingly low for a blockbuster competitive game, but the piranha-like gashing of social media has delivered any real insight into why it fared so poorly. No, stop. People on social media told you exactly why it fared poorly. One, some people that didn't buy the game didn't want to buy it because of the SBI DEI stuff. Two, some people didn't buy the game because of the actual character models. Three, people didn't buy the game because it didn't it didn't differentiate enough from the other games that were free to play. Four, it was the $40 price tag that people didn't want to buy. Five, they thought it looked very generic and didn't like the business model of the $40, and also waiting for the content to come out down the road. There was a bunch of reasons why people didn't want to play the game. Now, if I take 100,000 people from here and 100,000 people from this and 100,000 people from that and 100,000 people from this, that's a lot of fucking people that didn't buy your game. Hence why it didn't sell very well. Okay? So the Concord $40 price tag was obviously the problem, forgetting that the Helldivers 2 is the biggest breakout game of the year, and the game was published by Sony, is $40. The fact that you're looking at Helldivers 2 as a comparison from Sony, well, Sony, $40, is idiotic. Okay? Helldivers is a PvE game. Okay? Even if it didn't sell well, okay, you could still play that game without anybody. You wouldn't be able to go that far, but people would push the envelope to try to get it far. But to compare it to a PvP game at $40 in a landscape of free-to-play PvP games, you're a moron. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Tyler. Come on, bro. Don't be a moron. Don't be a moron. Okay? It's saturated market with 39 games released on the stream each day on average. It convinced the price was a problem. Concord couldn't even get the large audience to give it a shot during the free beta. Okay? Because they were interested in the gameplay. It says, I don't even have a true answer, but my take for now is that Concord isn't selling a fantasy or narrative of getting first-person shooter players excited to play it in the first place. Before then, if you decided whether or not they like the guns, characters, and modes, and one reason I can imagine is struggling that it respect is that it doesn't have an easily dismantled identity rooted in competitive shooter pedigree as the competitors do. Valorant, Counter-Strike is easy. Also tell Discord friends at CSGO by the League of Legends studio. Apex Legends from the Infinite War lineage. Deadlock is Dota plus Team Fortress 2. Concord comes from an ex-Bungie developer. Okay, but I don't get impressions of Destiny 2 fans perceive that it's offering any deep of spiritual connections to the beloved space fashion game. Okay. Dramatic post-launch turnarounds do happen, but many updates of the sale can get Concord some momentum, or maybe there isn't just enough oxygen available in the game Concord particular characteristics in late August in 2024. Yeah, I'm not even going to read the rest of this. Basically, it's going to go into, can they make a turnaround? Sure. I don't think you're ever going to see the numbers of Helldivers. I don't think you're ever going to see the numbers of Valorant or Apex Legends. Could this find an audience? Sure. If the PlayStation audience, because I don't think PC guys are giving it a shot, even if it does go free to play, as the PlayStation audience of the 60 million people that own a PlayStation, if they give that to everybody for free on PlayStation, I think you can get a player base of 30,000, 100,000 maybe, right? Out of the 60 million consoles that they have. But I don't think that's going to be consistent because there's other games coming out, okay? You can't say to people, especially since it's their words, not mine, that majority of people that own a PlayStation play COD. So you're putting Concord up against COD on your own system, which is pretty sad because now it's the competitor's game, right? And they would rather pay full price for that game for the competitor than pay your free-to-play game that's already on your console, right? these are just some of my thoughts here, right? So Concord's in bad shape. We'll probably keep talking about it because if articles keep written, we just read articles and give you my thoughts and opinions on it. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below in the live stream. What do you guys think about Concord? What do you think? Do you think this person is telling you like it's just we shouldn't grave stomp or dance on unpopular games? No, you have to put these out there so other people down the future don't make the same mistakes that these bad games are making. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. And if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are saying here. Nate says, how is nobody talking about the First Descendant, how the game is absolute garbage, and how you make a co-op game that is the hardest mission you have to do by yourself? Well, we have an article that we're going to talk about the First Descendant, about the new character, but I stopped playing for certain reasons because of the drop rate and respecting of my time. Roadkill says, you should expose what is bad in society and shine a light on what is good. But I think you have to do both, though, Roadkill, right? Right? You have... I mean, actually, you're saying what I'm saying, right? You have to expose what's bad. So people don't get away with the bad business practices or bad gaming, right? Because you would rather have people spend their money on the good games than the bad games, right? So absolutely, I agree with that. I agree with what you're saying, right? You have to expose the bad in society and then shine the light on the good. I agree 100%. Nate says, if it's garbage, they market the game as a co-op, but have you played the hard stuff by yourself? The hard mode is the end game, right? So as you play through the game and upgrade your character, you should be able to get into the hard mode stuff. But that's also like 50 hours plus in the game, is it not? By the time you level up your character that much? Oh, I'm sorry, 30 hours? Sarge says, okay, I got a question. Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben had a kid. What good... talk about food. I thought you actually had something to say. Sarge says, no, 30, not their feels. Water Bear says, it's a generation of participation trophies. Can you imagine? Just be a head coach of a sports, right? A lot of us know about sports, right? You either played sports when you were younger or you still like sports now. Can you imagine if the coach came up to you, and he's supposed to give encouragement, right? But at the same time, he's supposed to teach you to get better. Otherwise, he's a shitty coach. Imagine that the quarterback every day of the professional quarterback, right? He just sucked every day, and they're like, "Good job, thanks for throwing 7 interceptions." No, we're not gonna bench you and put the replacement in. We got total confidence in you. They're like, no, you got to practice, bud. You know what? When you get better, we'll throw you back in the game. Watch Timmy here as we put him in the game. Let's see if he throws as many interceptions as you do. No, right? You point out the bad things. Hey, you're losing the game for us. You're throwing a lot of fucking interceptions. Okay, we're gonna bench you. Bullying is bad, 30. I would say yes and no, right? I would say yes and no. A little bullying makes you the character that you are when you grow up. Because if The Rock even talks about this. Dwayne Rock Johnson talks about how he used to get picked on, and now look at him. He's probably got some mental issues and whatnot. I don't know that for a fact, but he probably has a chip on his shoulder and shows those people that you picked on me. Now look at me. Now I'm rich, famous, and I can kick your ass. Tom Brady did the same thing. He got picked on, told him he would never accomplish anything, and then all of a sudden, now he's the most winningest Super Bowl player, quarterback ever in the history, right? Still has that chip on his shoulder, right? Gen X knows how to survive without crying. Yeah, because we just don't care. I don't think you can offend. I don't think Gen Xers get offended. I don't know that as a fact, but I just don't think it's built in our DNA. Reese says 30. You're bald. Oh, thanks. You're not blind. Prosty says Concord nosedive into the bottom. Yeah. You know what the biggest problem is? Sony fanboys. Okay? And Xbox fanboys, right? Shitting on like Xbox shouldn't have any room to talk, right? Because they've had bombs in the past. But now Sony fans are defending. They're trash knighting, okay? They're trash knighting the Concord because they're like, no, it's not a failure. More people are playing. Yeah, you're absolutely right. More people are playing Concord on PlayStation. Okay. But it didn't sell well. It's a bad game. And it's okay, Sony. It's okay. You've had hit after hit after hit after hit. You make great games over there. Not every game can be a hit. Not every book can be a bestseller. Not every movie can be a blockbuster film. Okay. But you know what I'm saying? Like, You can make a game, and there are games that are not going to succeed. There's lots of games. We talk about movie industry all the time. 10 movies, 7 bomb, 2 make profit, 1 makes an absorbent amount of profit to make up for the 7, right? That's what's happening with a lot of these publishers and studios and stuff. Sarge says, we can just say the game is trash. That covers the bases. Yeah, absolutely. Argus says, Concord swan dived headfirst on the high rise of a concrete sidewalk below. Yeah, it's bad how fast it went. Sarge says, defend, defend, defend. Protect trash game. Must protect trash game. Yeah. Look, you're allowed to like trash games. What you do with your time is fine. Right? Some people watch YouTube and that's all they watch. Other people build houses and other people blow glass, or some people play shitty video games. I'm one of those people. I like playing shitty video games. Not this particular shitty video game. Okay? But I like some games that are not popular, but I like them, right? But I would never defend them. I'll tell you what's good, the honest truth about what a good game, part of the good game is and the bad game. I can look at games and movies and TV shows and books and tell you the good and the bad. Overall, if it's worse than good, I can admit that and say I still like it, right? Robert Jones says, I don't think bad sales equate to a bad game. Ton of good indies. Well, no sales, no discovery. All a lot of bad games with huge sales. Here's 2 sides, though, right? What side are we talking about, Jones? Are you talking about as the gamer side, where the gamer says it's a good game, okay? And then people say, no, it's a shit game. Or are you talking about from the company side that is a good game or a shitty game? Because there's a difference. Right? If it's a good or bad game on our side, it's just that you enjoy it and you can enjoy or shit on the game all you want. Financially, is it a good or bad game? Financially, it's a bad game. Right? Financially, it's a bad game. They put a game out and it failed. It's a bad game. Babylon Fall, bad game. Anthem, they stopped supporting it. Bad game. What's the one we always talk about? The Take-Two. I can't think of it. The one I always bring up, I have the fucking coaster. Battleborn, right? Battleborn was a bad game. From the gamer's perspective, I like Battleborn. I thought it was a good game. Okay? Financially, though, it was a shit game. Right? And you're absolutely right. Indie games and stuff like that with no discoverability can have low sales. So financially, it's a bad game for the company. For the gamer, it's a good game because if you like it or whatnot, it just didn't do well because of whatever reasons. Lurker says, wow, you found someone worse at gaming news than Tassie. Well done. Sarge says, Robert Jones, if a truly bad game sells a shit ton of copies, then that's the advertisement firm you want a retainer. You want on retainer, right? Let me see what else you guys are saying here. Roka says, yeah, I could never get offended about somebody said didn't expect. Yeah, just can't. Large says, but every kid is a potential rainbow. Everybody says those aren't Sony fans. Those are brain damaged bad consumers who lube up before before starting games. Hence the game not selling 25,000 units. Do I have a friend that blows glass? No, I do watch somebody. I don't know the name, but it pops up in my YouTube feed because I like watching things that get made. Like I watched a guy come up with an ion, a plasma, like a plasma knife and a plasma curvature of a wing and whatnot. So I watch people like blow glass or leather workers make on wallets or whatever else. It's amazing. Yeah, but yeah, I don't have a personal friend that blows glass. Reese says, sales aren't the only thing that makes Concord bad. It checks all the boxes. Not true. Battleborn was a good game. Got killed. Actually, bad game over crap. No, it got canceled because of sales. Because of the engagement that wasn't happening in the MOBA part of the game. But the single player aspect, you could play co-op with people, that was actually a good part. I thought when they stopped supporting it, they would at least put it out for the single player stuff, which is a shame they didn't. Argus says, if you buy a physical copy of Concord as a meme trophy, as a piece of history, make sure you buy it used somewhere so you don't give it a dev company any. Right. I agree with that. I said that the other day in Discord. If you own a physical copy of Concord, you literally hold a piece of history in your hand. If there's only 25,000 buyers out there, those are not all physical. So if you own a physical copy of Concord, let me tell you, okay, that is going to be worth at least $41 10 years from now. I'm sorry. Yeah, at least $41. You're going to have a relic. You're going to hold it up and be like, the game called Concord. Be like, oh, it's amazing. James Wolfgang says, 30. I stopped by for a bit. Really digging the vibe here. Definitely a great start to the day. Well, I appreciate that. Is there a new Valve game similar to Battleborn, but isn't killing it in the beta right now? Deadlock. I don't know if it's the same type of feel as Battleborn. I guess it could be, right? I guess it is a MOBA type of thing. Maybe 50 if it was actually on disc. You're right, Roadkill. No, but I'm in all seriousness, no. Years down the road, if someone has a physical copy, I guarantee you're going to have an article. I'll still be live. I'll be like 75 years old. We'll have an article on the Daily Grind. Okay? And I'll be like, in today's news, someone sold a physical copy of Concord for $250 million. And I'll be like, fuck, I would have a heart attack on stream because I would actually have a copy. I would have a copy by then. Like win the goddamn lottery. Right now, yeah, don't go buy a physical copy now. You got to wait. You don't want to bring up, because if you buy a brand new copy, you're going to raise that price up, right? Which diminishes the copy. You want to keep it below 25,000 units. Okay, there might be only like 1,000 units out there of physical copies. You're looking for a unicorn. Right now, you guys are all getting in your cars, driving and speeding down the road while listening to me on the phone, going to your local GameStop, just so you can see if they have a copy of Concord. You got a physical copy? All of a sudden, article comes in. Concord has sold 2 million copies, and you guys are all, now you have a copy of the game. High sales for Concord. They're going to make Concord 2, and everyone's going to have a physical copy, and no one's going to be playing the game. It'll be bad. Could be bad. Don't do it. Gotta play the game. Play the game. Keep it low. You know the difference between this and E.T.? People actually cared about E.T. They buried it in the desert. There's no physical copies to bury with Concord. What we're talking about is preserve your games. Preserve your games. Titan says 2024 bundle of Concord and Borderlands movie. Nice. You know what, Titan, now that you talk about bundle, if they throw in Borderlands movie with a purchase of Borderlands 3 at $7, I might get it. I might get it. Jason says I would put my Concord copy right next to my Dustborn copy. That game was government funded, right? We don't have a story about that. I watched the video. That game was government funded. Okay, government funded. Someone actually played the game. I forget the streamer's name. It was a girl, and she's like, "What the fuck is actually happening in this game?" Like, it is. That needs to be hung out and talked about. Put it next to my Battleborn and Paragon copies. Yeah, Dustborn is a government-funded. I don't know about you, but I don't want my taxpayer money going towards games like that. There's plenty of companies out there that could use that money and actually make a fucking actual game, not what Dustborn was. What has more physical copies, Dustborn or Concord? What the hell is Dustborn? Well, let me show you what Dustborn is. You want to see what Dustborn is? Let's show you. Hold on. Wait, I gotta set the stage here. When we watch it, we gotta watch it. Okay. Make sure the volume is good enough for you.
2030 in North America, you play PAX, a 30-something anomal. Looking for a way out, you're offered a life-changing opportunity. All you have to do is steal and deliver a mysterious package across the country. Joined by a crew with their own peculiar powers, you will explore an alternate America on a robot-driven tour bus. Embark on a perilous road trip and try to stay out of trouble to reach your final destination.
I'll give it to you, Theo. This is, what's the word I'm looking for?
Primitive. Rustic.
Cozy. Cozy's the word.
Dustborn is all about the crew. Their unique powers,
No, you have to buy this game.
complex relationships, and personal stories. The crew grows as you recruit new people along the way, and each of them has a special skill or power that can be of use to PAX.
You need to do something. She's freaking out. What do we do?
Gnome's ability to read people's emotions and influence them.
Just listen to my voice. You'll be fine.
Sai,
What?
hold the bus up.
Sai's super strength that always comes in handy.
Shit, that's heavy.
And Theo's Non-supernatural software skills.
Network's down. Got it. Luna, systems rebooted.
Life is shitty.
Welcome to the castle. How was the trip?
Maybe you should handle this one, Theo.
I like how the bus is called Cougar.
Guys, this trip won't be all butterflies and rainbows. The people you stole the package from,
Fuck that. Let's just go.
they want it back.
Can't follow us.
You know what's funny, Cubsy? You said, sorry, it's 30. The limited edition one is 40. Isn't all copies of Dustborn limited edition? Saying.
Into the DMZ.
But won't the Republic border guards wonder why a punk rock band on a tour bus is being pursued by Puritans?
I've been hailed by Justice Border Patrol. I'm required to stop the vehicle.
Oh, fuck.
We'll soon find out. Good afternoon, officer.
Your purpose for entering the Republic?
We're a band.
A band? Everybody off the bus.
What do we even play? We haven't practiced.
Whenever you're ready.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Your name? The Dustborn. From official gigs you're booked for to unexpected border checks. Perform to the best of your abilities to not raise suspicions about your travel motives. Write new songs and practice on the road to
are we
maintain
still-
your cover.
That was
we still here?
great.
But road trips are full of surprises and unexpected encounters, and you won't get away without picking some fights. So don't forget to pack your baseball bat. Girl power! Use vocal powers to talk your way out of hairy situations and call in some of your crew to help you.
I don't know if you guys missed it. I didn't know if you missed it. But she was triggered. She was triggered. Altern says, what are you talking about, 30? Quality of stream just went up.
Situations and call in some of your crew to help you.
We're the aliens. Leave my friends alone.
Stand still. They'll always have your back. As long as you have theirs. No road is long with good company. You'll meet new people along the way, allowing you to expand your crew and possibilities. Use your time at the campfire to weave strong relationships with each of them, whether it strengthens the cohesion of the team.
This is good for all of us. And we get to do it together. That's the best part.
Or hurts it. Depending on your choices, each crew member gets their own coda that impacts their state of mind and answers.
No, I didn't.
And sometimes, even the course of action.
Where the Dustborn is.
This road trip through America will be full of challenges. So pack your bags and hop in. You might not end up where you intended to go, but you'll end up where you intended to be.
I don't know about you, but I feel enlightened. I feel enlightened by that. Robert Jones says, I want to apologize to the chat for asking what this game was. I mean, that's how we roll here, Jones. You wanted to know what it was. I wanted to make sure I gave you a nice representation of what that game was, because we were just talking about that's what trailers do. Trailers come out and you look at it and say, do I want to play it or do I not want to play it? That was government funded. That was paid by you and me. No, wait, that's me and you. Okay. Money that we gave, okay, to the government, and they took that money and made this abomination, okay? And just like the devs that said stop being so toxic and the other article that said, dancing on the grave of shitty games, this is a shitty fucking game that was created by our money in government grants for a shitty storytelling. Now, imagine if that money went towards another game that was actually really good, that didn't preach shit, that didn't put stuff out there, that was just trying to make you entertainment, okay? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Right? Let me decide who I want to fund a game or not, okay? Said fucking triggered. I think one of the super abilities in the game called social justice. No, what was it called? I forget what it was. Oh, should we watch that? All right, let's watch that.
Anyway, I can't
Okay, let's watch that real fast.
believe why they made anyway. I can't believe why they made this game in the first place. But we have a trick up our sleeve, kid. Let's trigger ourselves. We can use trigger to increase attack power against robots.
Your failure.
We've learned how to cancel someone.
Cancel, that's it, cancel.
Will allow us to isolate people from their friends and compatriots in battle.
You've been canceled.
This could be a useful tool against them. I have to play. I'm so sad that other games have come out.
Wow. Wow. 17 players. 83 peak. Oh, Jesus. I can't get a fucking Transformers game. I can't get a Transformers game, okay? And meanwhile, shit like this is being produced. Oh, wait, we're not done watching. Hold on.
Because this game would be so fucking fun to play. So I saw a clip of this game.
Fella you're with, the black kid? Dresses like a writer? Does he know anything?
You are racist.
They seem super weird about race.
Oh, my God.
Think we can capitalize on that anxiety? Look at her face. Like, it's nuts. Like, who does it? Like, what a perfect game.
I did,
How
Travis.
do you
I've said.
think of doing this. It's like this got focus grouped on Twitter. It's like a quick time event to say somebody's a racist.
You're triggered. Not only are they calling you sexist, racist, and misogynistic in real life, but now you can also play it in video games.
Dustborn was funded by European money, aka the people's paying taxes. Yeah, but how much money though? 150.
Oh, thank God. I thought it was my taxpayer money. It's Europe's taxpayer money. Thank God for that.
$50,000. Why? Why? Why would you give them, like, who's making these decisions? Anyway,
Amazing.
I can't believe.
Amazing. Amazing. Yep, triggered. Yep. Well, it makes me feel a lot better, Eclipse. It makes me feel a lot better that I didn't help fund that game. How dare you, Europe? How dare you? You paid your taxes and you didn't know what they were spending it on. We read that article, Roadkill. The people that made Concord was privately funded. And then that got sold off to Sony. Void says, now I'm triggered. I'm sorry. I'll pay for that. It's okay. We forgive you. We still accept you, Void. We still accept you. we forgive you. You didn't know. You didn't know. Did Sarge actually time you out? I can't help what Sarge does. I gave Sarge modding powers and it's gone to his head. Yeah. Orga says these games are being privately funded to keep trying to push a narrative in public and normalize the demised demise people that don't agree. All the money that they are spending is not even working, but they're still spending it. So anytime you guys see me like stumble on a word like that, it's not that I'm illiterate or anything like that. I got COVID back in the day, and what it does, I don't know why. Okay, it literally, I see a word, I see it, I know what it is, but I can't say it. I don't know why. It's like a blockade. It's like someone just like covers it up. Sarge says your name is Gray. You ain't producing shit. All right, we're going to the next story, which is from Forbes, from Paul Tassi, talking about the First Descendant. Now, I really like the First Descendant. I have quite a few hours into it. Okay. If you like what I do here, we just cover news stories, have conversations. This next story is the First Descendant is instantly changing its terrible Haley farm and invasion missions. So those of you that didn't know, Haley is a brand new character that came into season 1 of the First Descendant. And as you can tell, she's well endowed. And she's got plenty of cake. Okay. So the update as of 8:30, okay, just 24 hours after launch, Nexon has already written up a list of changes that will also be made entire seasonal structure of Haley Farm based on rather furious fans' feedback among the changes. Now, the fact that they're changing it one day after, this is why I don't like corporations and companies. Okay, they knew what they were doing when they implemented the actual into the game. They're like, let's see what we can get away with. It's easier for ask for forgiveness than it is to, do it later. So they put it up and they put it inside the game, and they know that people are going to get furious, but maybe they're not, right? They're going to take that small chance that nobody's going to get upset about it. But they changed it one day after they made the announcement, right? It says, it will be much easier and faster to color match and occupy circles in the first mission and utilize drone symbols in the second. Enemy mobs will be reduced, and some enemy types will be eliminated. Okay, there'll be a patch next week that will allow these missions to be played multiplayer instead of solo. Okay, which I think Nate was talking about earlier. Okay, Haley's materials drops from these missions will be buffed. Negative modifiers that apply to inversion reinforcement upgrades will delete, and positive will also be buffed. In the future, there'll also be planned focus groups testing on these kind of issues that don't keep coming up. Okay, these are good changes, but again, it changes everything top to bottom within a day, making players wonder how internal playtesting allowed this to ship at all. Thankfully, Nexon is very reactive, but this does not. But this does keep happening. Okay, so here's his original article. Okay, his original article was, I was excited to jump back into First Descendant first official season launch on Thursday in order to work my way up, unlocking a new ice sniper hero, Haley. After a lot of talking and how some actual story missions and cutscenes, the path forward and grind of Haley was revealed. Okay, the absolute terrible, probably the worst grind I've ever seen in a game that I've ever done after stuff with 3% drop chance. The problem is twofold. Mainly that you can also run a new kind of special incursion mission, which also new objectives in order to farm Haley's materials, as she's not unlocked through amorphous materials like everyone else. Okay, these new missions are terrible. Okay, they're also only playable solo, and the feature of two monetization mechanics, memorization mechanics that are deeply unfun, and also make you do them 3 times in every mission. Now, remind you, he wrote this article before they made the change. He wrote the article, said this is terrible, and one day later they said we're changing it. Okay, not to say that Paul Tassi changed it, but the fans changed it. Now, before I continue, talking about Concord, talking about Dustborn, talking about games that are shitty games or do bad things. If we didn't speak up, if people that played the game, I didn't say anything about the First Descendant publicly, right? But people that play the game say, hey, this is bad, we don't like this. If it wasn't for that vocal people, then they wouldn't change. They would just keep it the same and take advantage of the people that just either don't give a shit or they're too blinded or stupid to understand why those people are complaining, right? The people that are complaining are trying to help the people that are playing the game to respect your time, okay? So the second kind of new infiltration is much worse. You have a roam around shooting gunk off the pillars to find symbols that match floating drones in order to protect yourself from the instant wipe explosion on a 2-minute time. The gunk reforms almost instantly, so you have to memorize the similar looking symbols of their placement and continue to do so and wander around being mobbed of drones puttered by, with also remove iterating boss immune shields. So there's also a horrible to play. But the next problem is the drop rates. After 144 materials that you need for Haley, you can only get a max of 12 per day. This is another scummy business practice, okay? Those of you that like the First Descendant or love the First Descendant, I get it. You can like it, but these are bad mechanics in a game. If I can only get 12 per day, let's do math. If I can only get 12 per day, that's 12 per day. 144, that's 12 days. Come back every day for 12 days. Right? Or if you don't come back, you have to play at least 12 days across the season to get the materials that you need for her. Now, you can say this is good or bad or whatnot, but you have to respect the player's time. If I play a game for 24 hours straight, or if I play for 24 hours over 3 months, okay? Let me play how I want to play. Meaning, if I want to collect all 144 materials in one day, you should be able to do that because maybe you're a trucker. Maybe you work on an oil rig. Maybe you only get 1 day off. Now, I'm not saying they're supposed to keep it for everybody, but at the same time, stop limiting me to a time frame. If I spend 100 hours in your game, if I spend it consecutively over a couple days really fast, or I spend it over the next 3 months, let me do that. Stop putting timers on things, okay? So they're saying 12 per day. It's also not guaranteed. So there's people that not even getting it. So come back for 12 days in a row to get maybe 12, okay? But you might not get any at all, okay? I've seen people go multiple runs getting 0. I currently have 3 out of 144, and there's probably no account for duplications once you hit the max either, okay? All of this is intolerable for very much it seems like it's meant to push players to simply spend $15 to unlock Haley rather than participate in a terminal grind. However, it's so bad that the community is complaining about it as much, and it also seems very likely that Nexon will step in soon to change how bad it feels and how generous it feels. If nothing else, it almost is always listen to the players and do the stuff like that. Here's the problem, and this is why free-to-play monetization games are so hated by a portion of the community, okay? Because if they give it to you, they're going to make it a 0.03% to get the thing, right? But if they can give it to, if it's a better opportunity, they'll make you grind longer, or they do both because they're really trying to push you towards that $15, right? I mean, Nate in chat has even said himself, okay, that he paid for all the characters, right? Mo, I think, has purchased a lot of the characters. I think he's got like 17 slots or whatever, right? He's enjoying the game. So he's paying for extra slots, unlocking the characters. He's grinding for all his, right? Other people just pay for the stuff. So you look at this and respect the player's time. They fundamentally make it grindy to keep you in the game because they know if you stay in the game for, let's say, 5 hours, there's a potential that people that play the game for 5 hours, they're 95% more likely to purchase something, right? And this is why I don't like the business practices of certain games. I stopped playing the First Descendant, and I enjoyed it, right? I played through the whole campaign and whatnot, okay? I went to go unlock a certain character, and it wasn't respecting my time. 5 hours should be plenty of time for me to put in to unlock something that says a 20% drop rate. And then when I get the 20% drop rate, I take that thing, and then I have to go into another thing, which is now a 3% drop rate, okay? And then I have to get this a certain amount of times, and then go over here to give me a shot. And I don't have the time for that, okay? And I play a lot of games, right? I have more time than the average person to play video games, okay? But at the same time, I do not want to take my time where I put 5 hours in to maybe get 5 pieces of gear or 5 materials to then go into this thing, which then takes my 5 chances, and I get a 3% chance to get it, and I don't get it, and then I have to go grind for another hour or so to get the next thing, right? So I grinded and grinded and grinded and grinded and grinded, get the material, go over here, and then I get nothing, okay? And that's where I looked at it and went, I'm done. If you're not going to respect my time, then I'm not going to play your game, which maybe I'm not the clientele that they want, which is fine. We see that eye to eye. You're looking for people that want to spend $15 instantaneously. That's not me. You're looking for someone that doesn't care and they'll spend 20 hours in the game and they'll grind and they feel more, like they've accomplished something. That's not me, right? So I just stopped playing the game. Do I think it's a bad and shitty game? No. I think it's a great, fun game with shitty business practices latched onto it. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Obviously, they try to get away with this, and if the community that bitches and moans about stuff didn't say anything, they wouldn't fix it. They wouldn't have changed it. They would have left it the exact same. So you're welcome, okay? I'll take acceptance for the people that bitch about certain things, for the people that bitched about this in First Descendant, because if it wasn't for those people, okay, this wouldn't get changed. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let's see what you guys are saying here. Let's see here. James Wu, it says, based on how many people saw with Haley on day one, they definitely got their monies up front for this one. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? And that's fine. If you want people to pay for it, cool. But don't make it super grindy to force people to do it, right? If it takes 15 hours, like, this is the way I look at it. If you don't if you don't pay $15, it'll take you 10 to 15 hours. If you're okay with the 15 hours to get that character, then let people over time frame get that. Or you pay $1 an hour up front. 15 bucks, get you the character. Have a nice day. Travis says, I lost interest in the better games to play, Outlaws or Space Marines 2. Here's the thing, Travis, but you were talking it up, right? For months and months and months when this thing was coming out, you were like, oh, man, I can't wait to play First Descendant. We had a blast playing the beta last year, right? And now you're like, eh. And that's how fast it is. That's how fast it goes when you like a game to not liking a game or not interested. Super interested in it and not interested anymore. Travis says 30, you know what I respect your time, Gundam Breakers 4. If you want to show off a creation, feel free up to it. All games should have respect for your time. Robert Jones says it's limited to push microtransactions. Yes. Yes. Make it grindy on purpose so you purchase the $15. Right? Hence why they make the character good looking. Show an ass, show some tits, right? So that you purchase it. Bart says, are you saying truckers and oil platform workers can't play this game? That's outrageous. They're people too. Nate says, that's a game that you can play for hours and not get anything. Like a waste of my whole day playing this and not having anything to show for it. Right? And that's what I don't like about it. Right? Because it all depends on your RNG. You might have 8 hours to play. You play 8 hours and get nothing. At the end of the day, you're like, what the hell? Right? Why would you go back? Why would you go back? Jag says, I think Reactivate will follow the same pattern. I think so as well, Jag. And I've talked about this in my earlier streams, right? I think, I even said this, right? That if Transformers Reactivate comes out and it's the exact same as Warframe or the exact same as the First Descendant, I'm more interested in that game because I know the IP. We talked about IPs on this thing, and you could call it hypocritical or whatnot. But the reason that I would be interested in that game, right, why I would pay for a Soundwave, right, and I don't buy microtransactions on this channel, right? But if I was interested in that IP, if I was interested in that game, and it was the exact same thing, if I'm interested in Soundwave or Megatron, where I have to pay $10, either let me grind for it, respect my time, let me grind for it, okay? Or if I want to purchase it, I'll purchase it because I'm interested. With the game like this, it's very generic. Generic characters, you know nothing about them, right? We know about Bunny because of the story. We know about Freya because of her story that they're doing. Everybody else is kind of generic. We know that there are characters in there that they're going to give us backstory to. But with a game like Transformers Reactivate, you know about Optimus Prime, you know about Bumblebee, you know about all the bots, Autobots, Decepticons, where they're from. It's around for 40 years, right? So there's substance there for those people that are interested in it, okay? Does it make it better if it's the same business? No, I would be pissed off just the same if it took me 15 days to get something. Like, there needs to be something that always happens to respect the player's time. So hopefully Transformers Reactivate respects the player's time, where there's thousands of robots they can make, right? If I spend thousands of hours in your game, that is the payment, right? I'm playing your game. I'm keeping the persona of people in your game. So, there's a lot of people in the game. Helps you with other people that spend the money on it, right? I grind for 100 hours where someone else pays $100 type of thing. But I agree with you. I think 100%, I've said it from the very start, Transformers Reactivate is going to be exactly like the First Descendant or exactly like Warframe. In the business sense wise. Altern says, like apologists like to say, stop crying, get good. The game is perfect. Oh, wait, I dropped my color now. I have one more to use. James says, the worst is it took me less than 5 hours across 2 days to get both Luna and Ultimate Valby. Ali is a basic character. Why is she harder to get the Ultimate? Because they want people to push that $15. That's why. Travis says, make the problem, sell the service. Yep. Sell the solution. How dare you, 30? TNA is not a marketable option. At least Destiny, I get 2 tokens and a blue. Yeah. That was the greatest stream ever. We respect your time, and then 2 tokens and a blue popped up, and we're like, really? That's how you're respecting our time? Well, I stole yours, Travis. I stole your RNG, and then Argus stole my RNG. So technically, Argus stole your RNG as well. I haven't played the game, but isn't it this par for the course for free-to-play games? I think the problem here, Reese, is, yes, it is on course with free-to-play, but if Warframe does it in a cheaper form, Warframe doesn't charge as much. Now, there are Warframes that they do charge $75 or whatever or whatnot. But for a lot of the stuff that's there is not as egregious as what's happening in First Descendant. Eclipse says, I stopped playing it. I will play it like I do Warframe when it's big content. I will go back. I wanted to go back and see just what Haley and stuff is, but right now, the way you're unlocking her is like unlocking the things in Suicide Squad. The difference, though, is I would rather unlock Haley than Karen Freeze. You know what I mean? Jack says, so the Transformers IP is more of an exception when it comes to buying the bots outright rather than... No, it's not an exception. What I'm saying is if you find people that like that IP, IPs are very big, right? This is why companies buy IPs. The First Descent is generic. Transformers is an established IP. So you're more people are willing to give money for Transformers, in my opinion, than they would for tits and ass of generic characters. You see what I'm saying? Not to say, obviously, there's people buying the First Descendant characters, but there's no backstory behind them. There's nothing connected. They'll drop it as fast as they bought it. Okay? If I can use Nate as an example, he was interested in the game. He bought the characters, bought the things. He enjoyed the game, and then he was one and done type of thing, right? There's lots of other people like that. Where if Nate, I don't know if Nate is a Transformers fan, now it's like collecting Transformers, right? Because now it's tapping into a nostalgia. It's tapping into your childhood of if you were a Transformers fan, that you're like now collecting and you can play with your toys. You can play with your characters. So people are like, well, I can go to the store and buy a $30 or $40 toy of Transformers and it sits on my shelf. Okay? Or I can pay $10 to $15 and then unlock Optimus Prime, and now I can play Optimus Prime in the thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a completely different thing than a generic IP compared to, hence why Marvel, people are okay buying the Marvel cosmetics and stuff like that because they're playing, it's tapping into a nostalgia, it's tapping into their childhood, where what does the First Descendant have besides TNA? Nate says, I would definitely play Transformers game, the First Descendant, but you would have to grind just like the First Descendant. I don't know. I grew up with Transformers, though. See? Now, I didn't even see that Nate said that when I was talking, okay? But do you see what I'm saying? Because we have this connection with that IP, if it was Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, whatever, you would be more interested if you were a fan of those things. There's no connection to the First Descendant until 3 months ago. Argus says, took both of your RNG luck, and my luck has also been amazing ever since. Well, I haven't gone back really since that time, Argus, so I don't know what my luck's like. Sarge says, Transformers an established IP with a gun to its head on the edge of a cliff with the blowing hard. That's also a rainstorm. We have some footage of it that was from the old Transformers game from 2020 that leaked on the internet this past weekend. Dolphin says, I'd rather play Transformers and take a break and fap every once in a while as constantly playing the First Descendant. Jack says, I gotcha. Transformers is simply stronger IP to start FTP game with. Right. You're making a game with a baked-in audience. The First Descendant has to try to find its audience. Now, I've said that I wish that Transformers Reactivate was a paid game. Okay? And then they don't charge as much for the cosmetics and stuff like that. But we know we don't know officially, but they say it's going to be a free-to-play game. Clip says, yeah, if Megatron has a dump truck, I might buy quick. Nate says, or the $900 transform that you can talk to and transform by itself. Yeah, it's $15 cosmetic of Megatron, or buy the toy that's $1,000 that can transform and I can talk to it. I'll play Transformers as long as they don't make it Transformers. What? What? Let me see if I can find... I got a Helldiver story, but I really don't give a shit if we talk about it. I'd rather see... I don't know if we'll... Let me show this. Where's the Transformers Reactivate thing? People are putting it on the internet, so let's see. Okay. This video I'm showing you is from RoboGamer1 HD. We've shown his stuff, right? I'm not going to let him talk. I'm just going to show you his stuff, and I'll put his description in it because we use his video after the fact. But this is stuff from, I forget what it was called before, but this is the Transformers game way, way before the build is now, right? So just so you can get a type of feel of what Transformers is going to be, right? This is early on, before Splash Damage took over, okay? So, let's see, does he show? Okay. It's not the best quality, but you can see, like, the car form, right? And that's something we saw in the trailer. You can see him transforming. You can see the melee / the shooting ability. That's it. This is the whole clip, right? But you can see how fast you can transform or whatnot. Okay? Obviously, now think about it. First Descendant, Warframe. Okay? This is leaked footage of what the game was way back. Now, there's another one, DP Luna talks about how this is completely changed because he's seen the new footage or whatnot. Okay, and he says they've changed it. It looks much better. Like, these vines and stuff are bigger. The graphics look better. The way the gun feels and plays. The character model of the bad guys has completely changed. Just visually, it's changed more. Okay. Transformers Rise. That's what it was called. Thank you, Eclipse. right? So there's a lot of stuff. So again, you know, when you see, like, I'm excited when I see stuff like this, right? This is just a still shot from the leaked stuff that came out last year, right? When I see these Transformers, I'm excited. Okay. Obviously, I'm holding back because of, you know, I'm cynical at certain things. And I'm like, well, we'll see when the game comes out. But I'm very excited for this because I'm a huge Transformers guy. And I love to see that I get to play G1 Transformers on a video game. Like, hell yeah, sign me up. Dolphin says, I bet you they slow down the gameplay. This is, we don't know when it's supposed to come out yet, right? We don't know when this comes out yet. They showed it 2 years ago, coming up to this December, and they went silent last year. They went silent this year, and right before the Summer Game Fest or Game Awards last year, they said we're not showing anything until, you know, whatever. So there is a plan, right? So here I'll show you this. This is a roadmap. Not really a roadmap, but a roadmap. Let me see. Is this it? What the fuck is it? Why didn't it open up? Tab. I'm trying to open this up for you guys so you can see it. For some reason, I don't know where the frick it's going. Okay. So this is some stuff they showed. So this is the 5-year storytelling thing of what Hasbro's doing with Transformers, right? So we know that the feature film of Transformers 1's coming out next month, or this month, September 20th. Okay. We know there's a mashup of digital gaming where they're putting Transformer into certain things. Okay. We know about season 2A and 2B of Transformers Earthspark on the thing, and then there's the games or whatnot. 2025, we know that Transformers Reactivate is supposedly going to beta or whatnot. So sometime next year, they're gonna be opening it up. The music's cranked when I'm not talking. Yeah, it should be fine right now. Yeah, I haven't touched the music. Yeah, when I stop talking, the music will go up. Right? So you can see what's happening here as far as this is the cartoon, this is the series, this is the publishing stuff that they have for toys, this is digital gaming, what's happening. So there's a Transformers AR, VR, console, and integration. There's rumors right now that Xbox is talking to, or Xbox and Activision are talking to Transformers or Hasbro to try to get either Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, War of Cybertron back onto Game Pass or whatnot, or if they're working on brand new games coming out, two new games potentially coming out in the works or whatnot for Transformers. So I think this is a little weird how they're so late, how they missed the bar with the 40th anniversary with releasing Transformers Reactivate during the 40th anniversary, but you know. We don't know if it's free to play specifically. Everyone says it is, but obviously, it could be paid. But everyone says it's going to be like a free to play, like a Warframe type of thing. I don't know if you're going to get a remake or remaster, Travis. I think you're just going to get them and put them on there. They still look fantastic. I mean, we played them last summer. I haven't seen the new trailer, Dolphin, but we're probably going to go see it in theaters. Yeah, we're not going to talk about... I got to work on the what's it called? The thumbnail. Because we're not going to talk about Helldivers today. We'll probably move it tomorrow. Because we showed Dustborn and we showed other stuff, so it kind of like pushed it out this morning. Rise of the Beast was fun, but 1 looks terrible. 1, I'll be honest, the first trailer that I saw, Jason, I was not impressed because of they made it look like they changed the whole feel of what Transformers was. I get it's a prequel, but I feel like they just changed the fundamental of what Transformers is. They made it more kiddie, even though Transformers was kiddie back in the day. I mean, I watched it in 1984. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't need to change the style of it. They made it more like, I don't know. Obviously, I know I'm a 46-year-old guy. Okay? I was 6 when the thing came out. Right? And I feel like even the animation style here is lower than 6. You know what I mean? Yeah, it didn't feel like Transformers at all. Yeah, that Mario Kart Racer's coming out. Is that music really that loud? Oh, if you're blaring your speakers. I think the music's at a good volume. I'll lower it some more. Because I'm monitoring it, and I hear myself, and the music is fine. But I'll lower it. Travis says, I'll be honest, man. Just give me a Mara Jade game. You know, we talked about a Mara Jade game before The Last Jedi. Not The Last Jedi. Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor. We said instead of the new character they gave us, they could have gave us a Mara Jade character instead. For that same series, exactly as is. But instead of playing Cal Kestis, you would play Mara Jade. All right, tonight we're going to play some more Outlaws. We're going to play some more Star Wars Outlaws. We're probably going to do more main story missions tonight, but I love exploring the world. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, Massive has done a fantastic job of taking 46-year-old me and bringing me back down to my childhood and playing a Star Wars game, okay? But then 46-year-old me is taken out of that moment because of all the games I've played and playing with the not-so-good shooting mechanics and not-so-good stealth, which I, again, talked about in the beginning of this stream. Okay, but tonight we're going to be playing some Star Wars Outlaws, so if you like that, come on, hang out as I play some more Star Wars Outlaws. If you guys like this show, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We'll go over, okay, but 10 to 12 is what we do. So if you guys like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I do appreciate you guys coming out. I hope you enjoy the 2 hours to get you through your day of this portion of your day, if it's in the evening, morning, or afternoon. We're done for this afternoon or for this morning. I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with us. Like I said, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern for some more Star Wars Outlaws. Peace.